Lugia wants to be as consistent and as powerful as possible. Kobi Kawasaki opening us up here. Top 16 at the Vancouver Regional. Would you look at that? He's back again at it. And I mean, a world championship player, state finalist way back in 2008. But you can see 2022 into 2023 season, now Kobi Kawasaki is now making a name for himself once again.
Yeah, both players, I believe, have been playing for a very long time now. And Kobi getting a very good result at the last Vancouver Regional, now at least one-upping it with this top 8 finish and could potentially make it all the way. So very nice to see that representation by Kobi and Stefan as well. Like I said, I've known him for quite a few years. He's had quite a few accomplishments, as we can see. Top 8 at the 2012 World Championships, top 16 at the US Nationals in 2015, top 8 at the 2010 US Nationals, and top 4 at the Long Beach Regional 2013, which I actually believe I was there back then.
Nice. And this is the player, right, that's been in the community. He's been grinding, been keeping up with the metagame, and finally, once all of those, forces come together and line up, he finds himself here in top 8 in Vancouver, and the match is just about to start. Both players 10-2-2, but that record doesn't matter from this point. You just want to go on that hot win streak. Now the prizes are coming down. Kobi with a Cramorant in the prizes, loses out on maybe some early aggression. Stefan with a Snorlax in the prizes. That thumping snore, came through very clutch in one of the matches on stream, having that last-minute attacker. But 2 Archeops down in the prizes is going to be a little bit harder to get set up.
And you know what? Especially because it seems like Stefan only plays 3 Archeops, so cutting one of those corners might actually end up hurting him. And as we saw before, in a Lugia matchup, prizing 2 of your 3 Lugia Vs could be costly, but prizing 2 of your 3 Archeops is actually terrible.
Dang. The Archeops has been the key card that has rocketed Lugia to the top of the metagame. And when all of the chips are down, we know that Lugia players will flex into a single Archeops line. And Stefan definitely has his work cut out for him, starting with Radiant Charizard in the active. Another Pokemon with a massive 3 retreat cost is going to be stuck there for a while. And now Capture Energy is going to allow Stefan to search through the deck and give him the bad news.
Bad news indeed. He does have the other Archeops in his hand, and Stefan definitely, the fourth Archeops that he caught ended up being one of the corners that he's cutting in order to add a card like Professor Burnett, which is not something you usually see in Lugia V-Star decks. Gives you that immediate discard of the 2 Archeops from the discard pile, but that's not going to be good if there's no Archeops to discard anyways.
And look, oh no, you can see the look on his face. He's like, no way.
Yeah,
no
what's
way.
going on
I must
here?
have missed it. These sleeves are sticking together. What's going on here? The Archeops is missing. MIA, the final Archeops in Stefan's hand. He's going to have to sculpt the game plan. And when you only have 1 Primal Turbo, you're much more forced into, the manual attachments per turn. You can't set up multiple attackers or quickly set up an attacker to respond to the opponent's play. Kobi can hopefully take advantage of this. Once you see the Summoning Star come through for only 1 Archeops, you kind of know what has happened on your opponent's side, and you can also adapt your game plan accordingly.
Indeed. So powering up the Evoltal, which will be very crucial against Kobi's Goodra, will be a little harder for Stefan to pull off. I doubt he's going to draw prizes before he ends up setting up any of the Archeops in this instance, but I will say, Goodra is on the slower end of things in terms of the damage output, if you will. Yeah, because they rely on Choice Belt, otherwise their damage is capped at 200 damage. So if there's one match where you don't need to, out of the blue, power up something very quickly, it is probably this one. So if I'm Stefan, I'm feeling not happy about this, but if it was going to happen against any deck, this is the one for it to happen against.
Goodra is going to be taking that slow and steady approach to every matchup. Kobi's on 3 copies of Boss's Orders. If something is preemptively getting set up, you can try to boss it up and get the knockout. But if it is, Evital, then you're just taking 1 prize after using a powerful supporter card like that. And it doesn't feel that great because it still feels like you're taking a long way around to actually closing out the game.
Now we do have extra time for top 8. We do have that 75 minutes, so we should be seeing
and 1 Boss's Orders going to the loss zone.
Yeah, 1 Boss's Orders. I mean, if you're Kobi, you don't know, A, that your opponent plays only 3 Archeops, and B, that they prize 2 of them, right? So you might not realize how clutch it is to knock out that 1 Archeops early on. But of course, like you would usually play as normal, right? You have to prepare for the worst, and the worst is a turn to Lugia V-Star with 2 Archeops down. So you can't really count on your opponent to prize 2 Archeops in order to beat them, and the boss's orders has less value, especially when trying to set up, right? It won't matter if you have a boss's orders if you don't have your board fully set up.
And that is what Cobi is trying to accomplish here. Second flower selecting offers up a scoop up net just to keep the water energy. Use concealed cards to discard the energy and draw 2 more. Goodra V is found, which is great to see. Luminion V also in the hand to get another supporter for when it is needed. Goodra V finally hitting the bench. There's 1 water energy in the hand. You already had the attach per turn with the capture energy. Luminion V going to now hit the bench. Luminous Sign to find a supporter, and that's Colress's Experiment. A beautiful card here to get more cards in the Lost Zone to turn on Mirage Gate, but also just to see more cards in general.
Yep, get more resources, get that Goodra potentially powered up. We know for a fact that there won't be any Cramorant aggression, which is not that impactful against the Charizard. That's not a Pokemon you want to be targeting. Ideally, you'd want to be attacking that Lugia, setting up the 2-hit KO, or attacking something like the Stoutland, or maybe even taking a prize against a Manaphy or a Dunsparce. But doing 110 against the Charizard is not very impactful. Now, we do see a Temple of Sinnoh and a Quick Ball hitting the Lost Zone. The Temple of Sinnoh's important cards to combine towards the end with Roxanne. But I believe the Roxanne has also been discarded already, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so that late game Roxanne plus Temple plus Hope is now out of commission, basically.
And when you are giving up on the Temple of Sinnoh early, giving up on the Roxanne, not even trying to set up a Cramorant here, going for the double Goodra V, we know that Cobi is laser focused on just the Goodra V star, taking that slow and steady approach to this matchup after all. Now it's back over to Stefan's side after the Evolution Incense. Still no Archeops to find. I know we thought it was just a dream on turn 1, but it is true. You've got to find the Lugia V-Star.
Now this will make it very, very, very difficult for Stefan to actually get like their best plan. Their best plan here would be to get a double KO on the comp phase with the Raikou, allowing them to prevent more flower selectings, right, and more cards in the Lost Zone, because 1 extra Colress from Cobi would put him at 6 cards in the Lost Zone, but then how do you get that 7th if you don't have a flower selecting Comfey in play? So Stefan would have loved to do that. They do have the switch potential to pull that off, but I don't know if they have enough cards just yet to actually pull it off this turn. It would require a switch and attachment of the Aurora Energy onto Raikou and searching for the Raikou, which is a big ask when you have a 2-card hand. Yeah,
especially with the Ultra Ball being used to get the Lugia V-Star. And this is where the matchup is, the cards are sort of going to be more on the table once that Summoning Star comes through to get the 1 Archeops back, because you need the Archeops almost to start getting more resources and get more Archeops. But once you've used that Summoning Star, it doesn't matter once you get the rest of the Archeops out of the prize card. So Stefan has to commit to this line of play. It's going to be very rocky from here on out, but I think the Raikou is going to be a massive part of how this first game is going to play out, as you pointed out, Pablo.
Now, very interesting decision to go for the Manaphy, really respecting that Radiant Greninja potential at the moment, which could be used to knock out the Charizard and potentially damage for 90 on the Lugia, putting it in range of the Goodra, or if Stefan ended up benching something else, like providing that protection, but just making sure that Greninja can only damage 1 Pokemon, because Cobi doesn't have access to any other bench attacker, and I'm sure Stefan knows this.
And with the Primal Turbo, we're going to get even more attachments here. Heat, Fire Energy being pulled to the front. Another attachment could be put down onto the Charizard, but we need to make use of these special energies. You can't just drop them down. It's so difficult here. With no prize cards taken, that Excited Heart means it's going to be 4 energies attached to the Radiant Charizard to try to get this through.
Right, 4 including the Double Turbo, or 5 individual energies, which is not easy to do, and it's a big investment. 5 energies for a single prize card, that's not usually what you want to do, right? You want to attach 5 energies to an Yveltal to take 2 or 3 prizes. You want to attach multiple energy to a Charizard to potentially knock out a Goodra, but in this situation, Stefan has to commit a lot of resources, and when you only have 1 Archeops in play, it's going to be really hard to have a follow-up if Cobi is able to take a knockout. And not to mention that Charizard also cannot attack the upcoming turn, so this could get really tricky in terms of resources for Stefan here.
Has the double turbo energy in hand for the attachment. I've never seen a Comfy get completely incinerated like this. 250 damage to take one prize.
That's a lot of damage to that single Comfy, and Stefan's going to get an Arceus from the prize card. It's going to be like, yep, there they are, but it's a little too late. There's no way to get a second Arceus into play for them, and we see the raw Colress experiment by Cobi. That means we're very close to seeing a Goodra V-Star, and with that Charizard going down, only one double turbo left for the Lugia player. It's going to be really hard to pair up multiple Pokemon to really damage or threaten the Goodra. There's no way to one KO it, and if you choose to attack with Lugia, then you're out of double turbos to potentially power up Yveltal, so you need another 5 energy for Yveltal, so it's going to get, like, the pressure on Stefan's resources energy-wise is immense.
And with the Colress experiment into the flower selecting, Lost Zone's now up to 7. Mirage Gate is online. Cobi held into the hand now a big Parasol with the single Archeops. We have a massive, tell when the Yveltal comes down as a threat, so we can try to respond to that with a well-timed boss's orders. With the Mirage Gate, we're going to attach to the Lumineon V. Going to try to go for the Aqua Return, perhaps, just to get this out of the, get this out of the bench, shuffle these energies back into the deck. There's the attached return, and then a scoop up net in the hand to get this Comfey out of the active.
Yeah, interesting decision to go with Lumineon rather than trying to use something like Conceal Card, see if you got the Goodra and then committing the Mirage Gate. I feel like establishing a Goodra here would be really good, and if you're going to Conceal Cards anyways, I understand removing the...
Oh my goodness!
Removing the liability of Lumineon, but now that you've played the cards in this order, now you don't have a Goodra fully powered up. And sure, you get those resources back, but that's one Mirage Gate exhausted, another energy in the discard pile from the concealed card. So, interesting decision, but with only one Arceus, I feel like that's when your Goodra is at its safest, right? Because Yveltal can never be powered up in a single turn.
I think Cobi just saw all of that delicious energy attached to the Radiant Charizard, had the water-type attacker, and just wanted to take advantage of that to get that Charizard out of the active spot, get one prize, and get on the board here. The Radiant Greninja now in the active spot. One Archeops still means that Cobi is going to be in a commanding position from here, and with double Goodra V-Star, the promotion should be pretty easy from this point.
Yeah, Stefan doesn't really threaten either Goodra V-Star here, no matter how many energies he attaches. There's no way to get that KO. Cobi still has the V-Star ability to completely heal and is holding a Mirage Gate. But I do worry that if Stefan goes for an aggressive play against the Goodra, there's no way for Cobi to get that third energy onto the Goodra V-Star unless they top decked it. So, we'll have to see if Cobi ends up getting punished. I feel like he wasn't
there's already one
counting.
Ordinary Rod in the Lost Zone.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't counting on drawing the Goodra V-Star, but it seems like he could have concealed cards to at least try to get it. Of course, the deck was shuffled after the Mirage Gate, so there's no guarantee that they would have found it, but I feel like it was still a worthy risk to take.
And sometimes that happens. You see a really obvious play, something apparent that you're just tunnel visioning on, and you lose sight of some other, micro decisions that can be more beneficial for you as the game goes longer. Single Primal Turbo comes through to find the second double turbo energy, and reconsidering, seeing if there's a different distribution of energy that's a bit better for the Lugia V-Star. Tempest Dive is a 4 energy commitment, so double turbo and one more energy, plus a manual attachment from the hand in order to use the Tempest Dive here.
Yeah, the double turbo was definitely necessary, otherwise there was no attack happening, and if there's no attack happening for Stefan, he's not getting close to winning the game. But I really do wonder, after you power up this Lugia, what do you power up afterwards in order to take a knockout? Usually Charizard, of course, as the game goes on, is your preferred attacker, as it doesn't require as many energies as every other Pokemon, but this Charizard is actually now gone. So what's the line of play here? Of course, Stefan is still in the game, still taking prizes, but how do you take the last 4?
Even if you find the attackers, the energy supply is definitely dwindling here, Pablo. There's a Stoutland V in hand, but it's not benched just yet. Cobi can respond with boss's orders and cards like that to just stifle any attackers that are trying to be set up preemptively. Lugia V-Star just chilling in the active now. Comfey with the flower selecting, but Cobi has to find one more Mirage Gate. Needs to get the attachment from hand as well with an energy to actually power up the Goodra V-Star. Scoop Up Net goes to the Lost Zone in order to keep a capture energy.
And Cobi was already holding the Mirage Gate, also had a right hand as well. So that's why if Stefan had not taken a prize card this past turn by trying to go boss on the Goodra, Cobi would have been in quite a bit of trouble, but the KO did happen. The flower selecting also gets Cobi everything necessary to not need the right hand, but this is still really, really good. Now Cobi might potentially set up 2 Goodra V-Stars this turn if the right hand fetches another Mirage Gate, and that's the dream. Yeah, your opponent has 1 Arceus, and that's basically the dream. We're also seeing apparently Temple of Sinnoh being considered. I really would love Cobi to recognize how far ahead he is and to just power up 2 Goodras and be like, hey, if you want to beat me, you need to go through 2 Goodras, because once again, if a boss's orders comes into play, the other Goodra could be stranded a little bit, and that could be problematic for Cobi a little bit.
Yeah, especially with the capture energy coming through. There is 1 Mirage Gate still in the prizes. I don't believe any were sent to the Lost Zone, but this could be a very big missed opportunity for Kobe Kawasaki to fully solidify his advantage from this point. Temple of Sinnoh, Choice Belt, Big Parasol, all being distributed here. Doesn't even set up the temple yet, just wants to get some damage here on the Lugia V-Star. Interesting
decisions here. I'm not quite sure, like, why do you need that second Comfey as opposed to just having 1? Some interesting lines of play here, and yeah, I mean, you're still very far ahead. With 1 Arceus, you don't feel threatened at all, and that Lugia is barely doing any damage to you at this point, and you still have your V-Star, right? And you're also holding a boss's orders to chase down a potential preemptively powered up Yveltal, right? So very far ahead, but I also think that Cobi could have made a few different decisions to put himself even more ahead with a bigger presence on the board, and thus relying way less on potential top decks, giving Stefan no time to get back into this.
There is windows of opportunity now in the Pokemon TCG when you give your opponent that chance to find the right combination of cards or get a clutch boss's orders through to strand something in the active and buy some time. That's one thing you never want to do. At this level, the players have already demonstrated that the luck is a bit on their side, and you need to turn off every avenue possible for your opponent to take away your advantage. Stefan now doing some deep calculations, looking at the discard pile, has another Lugia V set up on the bench, Primal Turbo to put 2 powerful colorless energy on it, and now Irida.
That will allow Stefan to search for item cards. Could be that Big Charm, in fact, could be Choice Belt. The Big Charm will put the benched Lugia V out of range of the active Goodra V-Star with the Choice Belt, so a very nice choice. And also, Big Charm is not a card that we often see in Lugia. Actually, I don't think I've seen it.
It's been a long
before,
time, yeah.
So usually it's Choice Belt. I've seen Tool Jammer as well, but Big Charm I've never seen in Lugia.
But this tech might come in clutch. Stefan's back is still against the wall, but the Big Charm making it difficult for, as you already pointed out, Pablo, Goodra V-Star's low damage output make that even harder to get that knockout. Just buys more and more time. Despite everything, Stefan has still taken 2 prizes, and maybe with this Comfey that was put onto the bench, these are some extra easy targets that could be used to get those prizes once the Raikou comes through.
Yeah, I really would have liked Cobi to play the Temple of Sinnoh last turn, even though it was just going to be discarded by Lugia V-Star. It would have forced Stefan to commit another energy to the active if they wanted to take that KO, and which, since we saw no energy attachment from hand, that could have really limited Lugia. Lugia's response next turn as well, but there's the boss on the single Arceus, meaning Stefan needs an energy attachment from the hand. No attachment available last turn. We do see an energy currently, so the Temple of Sinnoh will be gone, and Cobi just doing the calculations on the mats. If the Temple of Sinnoh goes away and somehow Stefan finds enough powerfuls or something to deal damage, I'm not quite sure. 220 with a choice roll, 250 minus 80, that's 170. That would be a knockout on the active Goodra, so I do feel like Cobi will need to commit their ability here in order to heal the Goodra, and there we see it.
Now things are starting to align a little bit more with how you're envisioning this matchup is supposed to go. With that knockout onto the Archeops, Stefan does no longer have that energy acceleration from the Primal Turbo, and it's up to these two Lugia Vs to try to get some big knockouts. With Rolling Iron, that reduced damage is going to really make it difficult to get this knockout, and the Evital is going to just be a massive telegraphed play at this point. I don't even know if there's enough energies left.
Yeah, I mean, and 5 turns to attach to the Evital. There's no way this game lasts 5 more turns, I'm pretty sure, especially with Cobi having 1 Lugia already damaged, a Manaphy right there. So yeah, Evital definitely out of commission right here. Stefan getting a little bit unlucky by pricing those 2 Archeops. It's once again that 1 in 100 chance, right? So we are watching a 1 in 100 game. And something to keep note here is I've definitely seen players before, they forget about the Temple of Sinnoh, and the fact that the double turbo right now only counts as 1 energy. So we need to be very careful here. If you're Stefan, you need to commit an energy to the active in order to attack, and that means you're out of double turbos. You can't attack with Lugia V's turn next turn. Your Charizard is also gone, so there's not much you can do in terms of, like, if you attack this turn, you're not attacking next turn. If you don't attack this turn, then how are you winning the game?
No.
The players, I think from this position, even though you have the extra time on the clock from being in top 8, this looks like a pretty easy choice of a concession heading into game number 2, just having that much more time when things come down to the wire in game number 3 to make absolutely sure you execute. Because this is a 1 in 100 game of double Archeops being prized, it might be better to just shuffle those cards and try again. Stefan just taking stock of what energies are remaining, how much damage needs to be done, what's the realistic line of play, and the Aurora energy is attached to the bench Lugia.
So there's no attack coming from the active. There's only 3 energies unless Stefan finds a way to counter Stadium. But yeah, no attack. No attack from Stefan.
So now Lugia V-Star is going to go down to this Rolling Iron. That's a ton more energies that are just sent to the discard pile, and there is no way a singular Lugia V-Star without any backup is going to be able to run this one back. 2 prizes for Cobi in game number 1, just a breath away from victory in this first game for the top 8. Stefan Tabaco has the Luminion, is going to try to look in the deck once more for some impossible way to get out of the situation, finds Professor's Research, and a lot of games have been completely shifted with a fresh hand of 7 cards. So we're going to see it here, Pablo.
I know this research, I mean, looking for an energy, trying to apply that pressure, and the fact that Cobi doesn't have another Goodra powered up, I think is what gives Stefan a little bit of hope. Cobi has not played a supporter to draw more cards, has not attached energy in a while, and this is where, even though the Temple of Sinnoh prevented an attack last turn, that just means Kobi's farther ahead. I think he would definitely prefer to have taken some damage last turn in exchange of having an already powered up Goodra on the board. So even though the card was good, wait, no, the Stadium, oh, the Stadium's getting discarded right now. I thought they were saying about last turn. So a little bit of damage. We see the boss,
and there's the
2
boss
prizes
KO.
left, and there we go.
Just a quick way to finally reach out, end that first game. Stefan Tabaco now massively back against the wall. But when you play a Lugia deck and you have one bad game to start off,
players, whether the Lost Box or any other deck, yeah, sometimes that top deck can be immense. So one extra card can be a difference between being the champion and getting left out in top 8. So yeah, every card being super crucial.
Oh, the Radiant Charizard starting back in the active.
And I mean, the Pokemon's being revealed before prizes are placed. I don't think that's a big deal. Like, that's to the detriment of Stefan in a way.
You draw your mulligan before you place the prizes? No, I'm not misremembering that.
Yeah, you draw the mulligan after you place the prizes. I think this just gives like Cobi a small advantage in terms of, like, now he has the information, but Stefan was most certainly going first, and he was gonna reveal that anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like at that level of play, it's a minor detail that it doesn't matter. And oh my gosh, Stefan's hand is so bad here. Not even a Lugia V.
Oof. Radiant Charizard, big charm in the hand. We've got some supporters, but when you're going first, when you're going first, this is not the hand that you want to see. This is a great turn 2 hand.
Stefan just did like a weird like a bye-bye signal, and Cobi saw, and like they're smiling, and yeah, Stefan's hand is just absolutely not great. I mean, he's not out of it. There's Yveltal to bench. The Charizard, of course, is a little bit resilient. It's not going to get donked by a Cramorant by any means. But there's no follow-up, right? There's no Luminion. Ooh. There's no... Like, there's Professor Burnett to discard your Arceus, but that doesn't matter.
That's so painful to see the Yveltal double turbo pass, and Cobi's going to just try to run away with this game number 2. Manual attachment to Lumineon via Capture Energy. You can now search his deck for a basic Pokemon and put it directly onto the bench. Grabs Comfey.
Yeah, all the advantage that Stefan would have, like, in theory, had by choosing to go first, being able to bench that Lugia, get that turn to Lugia V-Star, like that's the very bare minimum that you want your deck to do, right? But unfortunately, the combination of hands that Stefan has gotten is not conducive to that, and this one especially is really, really bad.
Now Flower Selecting offers up 2 Goodra Vs, an easy choice. So now we got that beautiful attacker. We have that, excuse me, we have that Pokemon being placed onto the bench soon. Got a nice quick ball here.
Yeah, so this this start for Cobi is a little underwhelming in the sense that because he started his lone Luminion, he can't quick ball for the Luminion to find the Colress, which means that there's not going to be a lot of aggression here. There's not going to be, we're not going to be getting anywhere close to 7 in the Lost Zone this turn unless this other Comfey is able to find unless this Comfey is able to find a Colress, that would be pretty good. But so far with the Luminion on the bench, this might be a game on the slower side over on Cobi's playfield, and that means maybe Stefan with a good top deck can't get out of this, but we'll have to see. And no Colress here.
Second Flower Selecting, however, does offer a scoop up net switch, also being sent to the Lost Zone. Goodra V now comes through. It's just going to be another pass to the turn. Yveltal kind of stranded in the active here.
Yeah, that second attachment. Yep. Good catch there by the judges. That extra energy on the Goodra. There was
I was already looking at Stefan's side. Yeah. I didn't.
There was a turn 1 attachment, capture energy on the Luminion, so can't attach that metal energy to the Goodra. That Irida top deck does give Stefan a little bit of breathing room. There's Luminion access. There's Quick Ball to get the Lugia V-Star.
So I mean,
the Lugia V, sorry.
Yeah, the Lugia V. It should all come together, and this is important to note, Pablo, is that when you're ahead, you're feeling great. You don't want to lose focus. A lot of these small mistakes, the double attach, double retreat, can, spell defeat from the jaws of victory. Yeah. Quick ball being found off the Irida alongside Manaphy. Now we can keep searching.
Interesting that Stefan's prioritizing the Manaphy once again, and with that hand, I don't know why you wouldn't grab Luminion. Your hand is, I mean, it's not dead. You have the Professor Burnett next turn and the Lugia V-Star, so you have the double Arceus play next turn, but I really don't understand why he's favoring this Manaphy so much. There's, like, Radiant Greninja is generally not a threat for this deck.
He's just using it to discard.
Got the quick ball on the Manaphy from Irida, and then discarded the Manaphy with the found quick ball to get Lugia V. Just doing a little bit of thinning here.
All right, I mean, that's definitely fair, but I don't know. Like,
I feel like Irida could get a better combination of stuff. The hand is so bricked.
The Luminion to not break, and you have 2 Lugia V-Stars. You're only going to use 1, I reckon, like most of the time at least. The Big Charm is also an expendable card, so I feel like way better choices could have been made here. Off of that, like, life-giving arena right here, but seems like Stefan, I mean, there's also mind games, right? Stefan might be so disappointed by his very slow start that he might actually not be, I don't know, super encouraged. He might have already lost this game in his mind.
Yeah, sometimes with the crazy bad luck in game number 1, if you make it all the way here to top 8, you might be a little bit tilted here, right? Not focusing entirely on how to win the game.
There's a Colress, though.
So things are still going in Cobi's favor. Colress's experiment on top of these Flower Selectings are huge. 5 cards now in the Lost Zone. Mirage Gate is almost online to get Goodra V up and running. This Yveltal already has a double turbo attached to it. The resources have been committed. If this is taken off of the board, that's going to be a key attacker for Stefan in this matchup gone.
Yeah, you could see Cobi certainly very close to getting that turn 1 attack. There's 6 cards now in the loss zone. I think Cobi does have enough retreat, but I think actually, I don't know, like if Cobi's forced to use this escape rope that he has in his hand to get a KO here, they'll be able to set up the Goodra guaranteed. But they might not expect that Stefan is holding the Professor Burnett and is holding a Lugia V-Star, and if the Evil Doll is not the Pokemon to go down, it depends on if they attach the big parasol or not. I believe they do have it, but would you attach it when you've seen Stefan basically say goodbye to the crowd?
Especially with the Evital in the active, you know that if you go for the escape rope to get the Goodra V-Star into the active, this is still going to be a massive threat on the bench. Stefan's list is built to be a bit more explosive with that Professor Burnett. You cannot take that risk. There's the attach now onto the Goodra V-Star. Mirage Gate will be active with 7 cards in the lost zone. Comfey rebenched.
I thought there was a Mirage Gate in the hand, but there isn't. So that's the missing piece for Cobi right here. It could still be found for off of this upcoming Comfey, but no, saving the escape rope, saving the energy, and yeah, we'll have to see. Stefan's about to have, like, Stefan's coming into the board. Yeah, he had a very underwhelming turn 1, but he's about to get a turn 3 Lugia V-Star, which the best thing is turn 2, the next best thing is turn 3, right?
Professor Burnett coming through. 2 Archeops now heading to the discard pile, going to be resent to the bench with Summoning Star. Stefan is taking a shortcut here, already grabbing the energies that he wants to grab, and Evital, you know, Comfey is going to take another really big hit for the team, right? Because Cobi didn't have a Mirage Gate to use the Goodra V-Star. Just going to leave the Comfey in the active to kind of hold the fort. But now we've got a real game. Cobi had a slower start in response to Stefan's. Didn't really get too much work done in the meantime. So we've got Evital with the double turbo and a big charm on it just for extra protection. And now, even with that big parasol, you have to start worrying about lost vacuum and things of that nature to prevent your opponent from taking those big knockouts down the road. Summoning Star finally being activated, Primal Turbo up and running.
Yeah, Cobi not able to capitalize on Stefan's slow start, and all of a sudden there's 2 Lugia V-Stars. Stoutland is about to take 2 prizes, and you don't have a choice build attached, so there's no way to prevent that Stoutland from taking another 2 on the Comfey. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking this game is favored for Stefan despite that bench attach pass on the Evil Doll.
You can come back from the most horrendous starts from time to time in the Pokemon TCG, and Stefan is letting us know that right now, Pablo. The double Archeops prize in game number 1. We thought that maybe his mental had been broken, he was maybe a bit tilted, but now he's flying around with all these energies, getting on the board with 2 prizes thanks to double dip Fangs.
Yeah, what a game we are seeing right now. Stefan looked like he was at a big disadvantage. Cobi all of a sudden couldn't capitalize on that, and Stefan now on the board, ahead in prizes. No Mirage Gate found yet for Cobi, and I think the big card that went to Lost Zone that was decided on based on Stefan's very slow start was that right hand. If Cobi had that right hand right now, they would be able to locate that Mirage Gate, but now it comes down to the chance of finding it off of the colors, and there it is.
Mirage Gate found. Water Energy is going to be picked up here. Switch and a Capture Energy maybe going to the Lost Zone. There's another Colress, but maybe you don't even need it at this point. Do you like keeping the next Colress, or?
I do like keeping the next Colress. I feel like Cobi still needs help in finding the next Goodra, because there's a chance that Lost Vacuum can happen, as you mentioned. That's something that has to be in the back of their mind. They weren't able to deal with that Evil Doll in time, so that's one way Stefan has of KOing the Goodra. But Stefan also knows, or like initially, it seems like the Stoutland will survive, right? It has 210 HP, Goodra does 200 damage, so if the Stoutland survives, especially now that the escape rope is being played, this Stoutland could just knock out the Comfey, putting Stefan at 2 prizes, and then all of a sudden, you can go for another Boss or Serena on the Luminion, and you never had to deal with a Goodra anyways.
This is rough. Having to use the escape rope to get the Comfey out of the active, and then Mirage Gate. Is there enough energy left in the deck? We've got 1 metal. We need 1 water energy, but is it not there?
It's not there, but it's in the hands. Not the best use of the Mirage Gate, but at least you'll be able to start doing some damage. But I think right now, the game is in Stefan's hand. He has access to Luminion, he has access to Boss's Orders. Does he have them in their hand? I'm not exactly sure. The Temple of Sinnoh, another nuisance for sure, stops the powerful energies from working properly, and Cobi finally takes their first prize card.
And with the damage reduction, from the damage boost from the powerful energy offline, Stefan has to do a little bit more work if this double dip fangs is going to come through. Lugia V-Star now promoted into the active, but now we're going to be seeing a lot more utility, a lot more potential to employ different attackers with double Archeops now in play.
Unfortunately for Stefan, though, after this explosive turn they just had, their explosiveness has died away. There's no access to boss, no access even to a draw supporter, no research, no Marnie, no quick bolt to find Luminion. So even though Stefan looked to be in the driver's seat from the previous turn, this turn is going to be very underwhelming. Just a random hit onto the Goodra, which will discard the stadium, but will allow Cobi to V-star the damage away and continue to apply the pressure. And with the boss's orders in their hand, you might be wondering if they're going to favor targeting that Evil Tall on the bench.
And with the Temple of Sinnoh in play right now, both Primal Turbos have to be committed to the Lugia in order to overcome the fact that double turbo energy does not cover the cost anymore.
Yeah, Stefan needs to be very careful with that, as he is eyeing all 4 energies, it seems. Should be remembering this, but I know I've personally made that mistake more than once, more than I'll care to admit, in fact. So Temple of Sinnoh, very important to be aware of its effect on the double turbo.
And it's not just about the energies you're employing this turn, it's about mapping your energies for the turn after and the turn after. If you're expecting Cobi to maybe respond back with some knockouts or some boss's orders, suddenly the energies are all drawing up. And this is one of the things that Lugia V-Star does struggle with just a little bit. If the game begins to drag out, if you aren't weaving in Luminion V to use Aqua Return and get those special energies back into the deck, you get stranded by not being able to employ the attackers you want.
Certainly, Lugia decks usually play anywhere between 15 and 16 energies, but as you mentioned, if you're not weaving in Luminion here and there to get the most use out of those, then you could run out very, very quickly. And essentially, the active Lugia has 5 energy total right now, and that's less energy that you can use to power up other Pokemon like Yveltal, or even the follow-up Lugia V-Star that Stefan seems to be preparing.
And after all of that effort just to get rid of the Temple of Sinnoh, the Goodra V-Star is just a little bit of damage here in the active. Moisture Star is also still active to just heal this off, completely cancel out that attack. And as long as you've got the big Parasol, you have to take the gamble versus Lost Vacuum. Radiant Greninja discards a Metal Energy to draw 2 more. The rest of the hand's not looking that great, though.
I mean, there is a Colress, there is an Ordinary Rod to put those energies back, which we know Cobi is running very low on at this point. We do see the V-Star healing, but one Goodra seems pretty good right now, but it's not going to carry you through the whole game, through 5 prizes. Cobi needs to make a decision. Do I go for the boss or do I go for the Colress? You've seen Stefan not play a supporter, so you don't know if they have access to Lumina or not, but very likely they don't. But eliminating this Yveltal means your Goodra is never going down in a single hit, no matter what Stefan does, giving you a little bit more time to prepare a second Goodra.
And gets a Temple of Sinnoh off of the prizes. It's going to be fantastic for next turn, turning off those special energies, making it even harder for Stefan to find the knockouts he needs. From this point, looks like Lugia V-Star is the choice to go back into the active, not reaching for the Stoutland V. Maybe gives away a little bit to Cobi that there isn't, a switching card there to bring up a Comfey and get another hit with the double dip fangs.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you who's going to win this game. I do think it's Stefan a little bit in the driver's seat, but he needs to top deck something. He needs to find a boss orders, or he needs to find some sort of way to disrupt Cobi's hand at least. But there's nothing being played, just an attack. Yeah,
no utility. And this is the conundrum that has, every player needs to consider with Lugia V-Star is sometimes their hand is monumentally bricked, and suddenly with one card, the deck comes alive and takes a prize that maybe you thought they wouldn't be able to do, or gets a knockout they wouldn't be able to do. Kobi Kawasaki took down the Evital, knows that the Goodra V-Star can't get one hit KO'd, but now this Tempest dive and Lugia V-Star just going to keep on swinging on the Goodra V-Star, and now it forces Kobi to respond a little bit more aggressively. Chorus Experiment coming through, Goodra V-Star being offered up, and a few energies besides.
Yeah, this energy is very important because Kobi does, that's the last energy they have, and they are holding an Ordinary Rod in their hand to put back 2 more, so that's exactly 3 energies left to be able to power up a second Goodra V-Star. But as we mentioned, Stefan does have the possibility to play around that second Goodra V-Star by targeting down the Luminion on the bench, but you can't do that if you only have Pokemon and energy in your hand. They need to find these Boss's Orders, and they need to keep applying the pressure. The damage reduction from Goodra is not as impactful anymore, as 80 less damage still means Lugia 2-hit KOs the Goodra, so it's not that impactful at this point in time. There's no way to prevent this Goodra from going down, but that Scoop Up Net on the Comfey to protect it from the double dip fangs that you were mentioning, a very good play.
Temple of Sinnoh now also entering play, taking a lot of utility away from these attacking Pokemon, not evolving, has the Goodra V-Star now, not open to any disruption right as of yet. Stefan could get a really clutch top deck Marnie here, and maybe get a new lease on life. What's the draw? The Lost Vacuum. Too little, too late.
Too little, too late indeed. It's not super relevant against the Temple of Sinnoh. It's also not relevant against this Goodra with the big parcel that's about to go down. There's no easy target for Stefan on the Comfey with the Boss's Orders for the double dip fangs, but if the Luminion is still very enticing there, yeah? The Luminion might be how Stefan is able to win this game, and off of the 2 prizes that he's about to get, maybe he finally finds a way to get a Luminion, but thinning the deck, I think, is very important here. Just make sure you get anything that's not a Boss's Orders, a Quick Ball, a Luminion, or an Ultra Ball right now in your deck doesn't matter anymore. You can win the game next turn, but you need one of those cards.
And Kobi might be trying to consider that line, power up the Luminion and Aqua Return to get those easy prizes off of the bench. But it was looking like so much that Kobi Kawasaki was going to take this in a quick 2-0, but he has repeatedly left the door open for Stefan to make these plays and fight back into this game. Tempest Dive still being able to hit through despite the Temple of Sinnoh, discarding that stadium and taking 2 more prizes. 1 more Pokemon V down for victory. Luminion V promoted to the active, and we have to get this powered up for Aqua Return.
There's an Ultra finally in Stefan off of the prizes, so that Stefan has game in hand. Kobi needs to either return this Luminion and evolve the Goodra V-Star on the bench, or the game might be over, or at least disrupt, right? If Kobi is able to find the Roxanne that they do have access to still, I think I saw it in their deck, that could be a way to get that disruption going, prevent the Boss's Orders play, but definitely in a really weird spot. And I feel like after you saw that bench attached pass
4
on
cards
the
left
Evil
in
Doll.
the deck. Yeah. Oh my goodness. The Chorus can see down into those, but then, you know, that's the final Mirage
play the
gate.
Roxanne.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't play the Roxanne if you play the Chorus. So, and there's a Chorus, so I think that means Stefan will likely win this game unless Kobi goes for the Luminion play.
Yeah, so that's all the cards being added to the hand. Cramorant goes to the Lost Zone. Mirage Gates are now up and running. Ordinary Rod to put the energy back in. We can Aqua Return the Luminion V.
Yeah, seems like that's Kobi's play, recognizing that that is what Stefan could do to win the game. But then, like, you promote the Greninja, right? Stefan can still just go boss the Goodra with the cards that he has. He might not win the next turn, but he'll win a turn after that because Kobi will not have any way to heal the Goodra anymore. It will have a bunch of damage on it. And yeah, I mean, wherever it goes, like if you retreat, then you're not really trying to win. You're just like barely scraping by.
See, and even almost rebench the Comfey, but then the double dip Fangs threat is also there. So the Comfey cannot stay on the bench whatsoever. There's a lockout checkmate scenario now being presented to Kobi, and I think he's recognizing the implications of the situation. The Aqua Return is about to happen. This shuffles back into the deck and these attached energies. 4 cards now left.
Yep, these are the only cards left in Kobi's deck. They do need to shuffle, and then Cod can just place the Luminion in whatever order you'd like. A little bit of damage for the KO on that Lugia. More than enough. And then there's the Greninja. But what is Stefan planning right here? I feel like boss into the Goodra is the way to go.
And with that all being said, we have, at the very least, the Stoutland V with some energies attached. We have Lugia V-Star. Is there enough energy still left in the deck? Fortunately, there's no Temple of Sinnoh here to stop the double turbo energy, but I believe that those are all gone. Looks like Stefan is just going to promote the Stoutland V. What is that second attack called again? I only know double dip fangs. I think we've only seen the second attack. It's like wild tackle or something.
Wild tackle or double edge or something along those lines. The self damage would be problematic though, because it does do 30 damage to itself. Wild tackle it is. That 30 damage would actually put it in range of the Stoutland V, I believe.
Yeah, it would put it in range of the Goodra.
Yeah, the Goodra. Oh, never mind, because it does have the V-Guard attached. So, but there are still enough Auroras left to where the Lugia can be powered up.
Okay.
The Lugia is definitely the safe Pokemon to have here. I guess benching the Lumineon is also a liability here for Stefan. Kobe's down to 2 prizes, so if Kobe was able to go Mirage Gate, attach, and boss onto that Lumineon, that would be enough, unless Stefan also does the play of sending back the Lumineon to the deck. So a lot can happen here.
This is play and counterplay and play and counterplay. This is everything riding on the line for Stefan Tabaco. He can take this to a Game 3 pretty easily if the current timeline follows through. But there are still some things that can line up that allow Kobe to get these final 2 prize cards. Lumineon V now hitting the bench, going to search through for a supporter card. We are looking at the potential for a boss's orders play.
There's the boss. One super interesting line of play here could be, you know exactly what Kobe has in their deck, right? It's 4 cards, it's Lumineon plus 3 energies. So if you Marnie, that's what they're going to draw. So one thing you could do here is attack with your own Lumineon, do 120 damage on that Greninja, and then hunt that down with the double dip fangs for your last 2 prizes. That is certainly something that could be done here. I'm not sure. It's not the most straightforward line of play for sure, but might be the line of play, honestly. But then why grab the boss if you're gonna play the Marnie, right? No. Okay. So we're gonna go after the Goodra and attack with Lumineon here, putting enough damage to potentially get the KO, or is it?
So now with the Lumineon being shuffled back into the deck, Stefan can re-promote the Lugia V-Star to take 1 hit from the Hisuian Goodra V-Star and then respond back with the Tempest Dive now that all these energies are shuffled back into the deck.
All right, so Kobe does have the choice belt though, so as long as they top deck an energy, I believe it's game over. They have the boss, they have the Mirage Gate, they have the choice belt. 75% chance for Kobe Kawasaki to win the game right
especially
now.
Because Stefan is the one that shuffled after the Aqua return.
Yep.
He chose his own fate here, Pablo. He locked it in.
I mean, I don't know if Kobe has a way to draw 1 card off of their deck. Maybe there's Comfey switching something, but it literally comes down to this. Stefan shouldn't be promoting the Stoutland, that's for sure. But there's the V-Guard. Never mind. The V-Guard cancels out the choice belt. Gosh, I always forget the V-Guard.
It is so hard to keep track of every single decision that's going on from this point. And it's a capture energy
but there's
off
a Temple
the
of
top.
Sinnoh to nullify the V-Guard. So Kobe does have the win here. He does. He got the energy.
Ordinary Rod shuffles 2 energy back into the deck. Mirage Gate, I believe there's 1 more left in the hand to accelerate those onto the Goodra V-Star. 1 more attachment there.
Yep.
And then we have the choice belt plus
the
boss's
Temple
order.
to nullify
Beautiful.
the V-Guard, and that is the KO. Kobe Kawasaki wins this game that seemed to be slipping away. Stefan almost made it back, but his hand just didn't. Like, he never top decked out of it, and I feel like he really could have thinned the deck a little bit more. Some of those their energies somewhere around the line. I don't know, but that was one of the most intense Lugia Goodra matches I've seen for sure.